Today on Public Eye News, the Michigan Marquette Police Department suspends search and rescue efforts for Trenton Massey. And later, lawyers say the Chinese government intervened in a case surrounding smuggling at the University of Michigan.
Tim Knapp will have your weather forecast for the next couple of days. Later, Emma will give you today's sports breakdown. I'm Emily Goodacre.
And I'm Emma Maratz. You're watching Public Eye News. The search for missing Northern Michigan University student Trenton Massey has been suspended by the Marquette Police Department as of 4 p.m. Wednesday, February 25th. The Marquette Police Department said in a press release that while search efforts have been suspended, the investigation is still ongoing. Volunteer search efforts can continue, but volunteers are asked to stay off the ice and to not go onto private property. NMU President Chris Olson would like to thank everyone who helped in the search, and he said that new information will be released when it becomes available. NMU students can contact the counseling and consultation services that students can access by calling 906-227-2980. And energy company Enbridge has started reworking a pipeline that crosses a tribal reservation in northern Wisconsin. This project could be delayed indefinitely, however, as two lawsuits are still pending. About 12 miles of Enbridge's Line 5 pipeline runs across the Bad River Band of Lake Superior's reservation. The tribe sued Enbridge in 2019 due to concerns that the pipeline would cause a catastrophic spill. A judge granted Enbridge until this upcoming June to remove the pipeline, but the tribe wants Line 5 to be shut down permanently. A judge gave Enbridge the clearance to go through with the update, and Enbridge has started clearing trees for the project.
In Upper Michigan, a sudden building collapse shook up a whole downtown and got emergency crews moving. The roof of the Veterans of Foreign Wars Hall in Ishpeming came crashing down. The city quickly set up a safety perimeter and closed the downtown area to both vehicles and pedestrians because officials were worried about hazards like natural gas leaks. Nearby residents were evacuated out of caution while utility crews worked to shut off gas service. Fire, police, and public work teams all rushed to the scene to keep people safe. Once gas was safely turned off, officials said people could return to their homes, but barricades stayed up until all utility work was finished. The city urges everyone to follow safety instructions from responders. A repeated offender is heading back to prison, and for this time, it's more than a decade. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Michigan, 53-year-old Joseph Miller of Dearborn Heights has been sentenced to 129 months in federal prison on fraud charges. Prosecutors say Miller carried out multiple schemes totaling roughly $1.2 million. He pleaded guilty to wire fraud, bank fraud, and aggravated identity theft. He used stolen identities to open credit accounts. He also secured fraudulent loans and illegally obtained funds through the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. Miller's criminal record played a major role in sentencing, as court records show he has 18 prior felony convictions. And former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is meeting with the House Oversight Committee near her home in New York today in connection with the Epstein files. Her husband, former President Bill Clinton, is scheduled to give his deposition tomorrow. At the same time, there are new questions about whether there are missing documents related to allegations against President Trump. Bradley Blackburn has the latest from New York.
Members of the House Oversight Committee arrived in Chappaqua, New York for Thursday's taped deposition with former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, part of their investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
The purpose of the whole investigation is to try to understand many things about Epstein. How did he accumulate so much wealth? How was he able to surround himself with some of the most powerful men in the world?
The head of the committee denied the Clintons' request to conduct the questioning in public.
We are more than happy to say what we know, which is very limited.
In an interview with the BBC last week, Hillary Clinton accused the Republican-controlled committee of trying to shift focus away from President Trump.
The Republican member of Congress who is running this hearing or this investigation is trying to protect the president.
The Epstein files contain photos of powerful men, including both President Trump and former President Bill Clinton, whose deposition is set for tomorrow. Both deny any criminal wrongdoing and have not been charged in connection with the late disgraced financier. The closed-door depositions come as the committee's top Democrat raises concerns allegations made by an Epstein survivor who accused Trump of sexual misconduct may be missing from the Department of Justice's file release.
New files that were just discovered in the last couple days of a survivor that has made serious accusations and allegations against not just Jeffrey Epstein, but also against President Trump. Where are these files? Who removed them?
As the Epstein fallout continues, billionaire Bill Gates apologized to the Gates Foundation over his Epstein ties, but said he did nothing illicit. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Don't go anywhere. We'll have your weather and statewide news after this break.
Asking tough questions to those in power.
Russia right now has you outmanned, outgunned. Is it time to think about a settlement?
As a newcomer to Congress, what did you make of the high degree of dysfunction within the Republican conference?
I always felt that it was broken.
And covering events as they unfold.
Opposition fighters have reached the suburbs of the capital, Damascus.
PBS NewsHour and PBS News Weekend, every night on PBS and streaming.
Welcome back to Public Eye News. I'm Tim Knapp, here with your weather breakdown. Taking a look at the roof cam right now, we can see it's not quite snowy anymore, but there's still some flurries coming down here and there. At our statewide map now, we can see it's snowy and cloudy all across the UP, starting in Houghton, where it's 25 degrees and cloudy, over in Ironwood, where it's 28 degrees and snowy. Iron Mountain is 30 degrees and cloudy, and down in Menominee, it's 29 degrees and snowy. As we shift across the map, though, over in Escanaba, it's 28 degrees and cloudy. In Manistee, it's 29 degrees and snowy. In Sault Ste. Marie, it's 20 degrees and cloudy, and back home in Marquette, 19 degrees and still a little bit of snow out there. Taking a closer look at those current conditions, winds are coming out of the southwest at 13 miles an hour with a barometric pressure of 29.68 inches and steady. Taking a look into tonight, it's going to be cloudy with a low of 18 degrees, winds out of the south at 5 miles an hour, and our moon phase is a waxing gibbous. Taking a look into tomorrow, it's going to be partly sunny, finally, with a high of 42 to melt some of that snow, and a low of 21, winds out of the southwest at 20 miles an hour. Looking into this weekend, Saturday is going to be 14 degrees with a low of 6 and snowy. And Sunday, it's going to be 16 degrees with a low of 3 and sunny. Monday, also sunny with a high of 30 and a low of 4. Wildcats, if you're going home this weekend, have safe travels and have fun over your break. Now, back to the desk.
Thanks, Tim, for that weather update. Hopefully, the sun is here to stay. Now, on to statewide news. Governor Gretchen Whitmer delivered her final State of the State address last night, where she talked about literacy, housing, and healthcare affordability. She also highlighted the progress that Michigan has made over the past 7 years. Whitmer spoke that Michigan dropped to 44th in 4th grade literacy, and she has started a 3-step plan to change that. She wants to continue pre-K for all and have preschoolers ready for kindergarten. She also wants to provide extra help to those that need it. Whitmer also talked about how housing in Michigan should not be difficult to afford, so she started a state-level affordable house taxing credit, along with getting rid of unnecessary construction requirements. And charges have been dropped against 3 Chinese professors at the University of Michigan after helping a fellow colleague smuggle in worms into the U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi addressed the case and said that America must stay vigilant. Defense lawyers say China's government intervened and helped get the charges dropped. The 3 professors were held in jail for over 3 months in Detroit, and the charges were dismissed on February 5th. The worms, which were harmless and not dangerous, were said to have a limited lifespan. An expert on the worms said that they were of not any danger to anyone in the United States. And a high-stakes round of negotiations between the U.S. and Iran is underway in Geneva as the Trump administration weighs possible military action if no deal is reached on Iran's nuclear program. The U.S. is also investigating a shootout in the Caribbean involving a speedboat from Florida. 4 people on the boat were killed and 6 injured. Natalie Brand has the latest from Washington.
Starting with the Iran negotiations, Oman's foreign minister is mediating and says creative and positive ideas have been exchanged. Both sides are hoping diplomacy prevails, but preparing for the alternative. In Geneva, President Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff sat down for the latest round of indirect nuclear talks with Iran.
I think a fair, balanced, and equitable deal is achievable.
Iran's foreign minister said the country is also prepared if a deal is not reached with a massive U.S. military buildup in the Middle East.
There would be no victory for anybody. It would be a devastating war.
Ahead of the talks, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said President Trump still prefers diplomacy, but he warned Iran poses a grave threat to the U.S.
After their nuclear program was obliterated,
They were told not to try to restart it, and here they are. You can see them always trying to rebuild elements of it. They're not enriching right now, but they're trying to get to the point where they ultimately can.
In another international development, the U.S. is investigating after Cuban authorities shot and killed 4 people on board a speedboat registered out of Florida.
I'm not even going to speculate as to what it could have been. It's a wide range of things. But suffice it to say, it is highly unusual to see shootouts in open sea like that.
Cuban authorities said the individuals entering Cuban waters were asked for identification and then opened fire. Cuba alleges they were armed with assault rifles, handguns, Molotov cocktails, bulletproof vests, and camouflage uniforms, and planned to carry out a, quote, infiltration for terrorist purposes. The U.S. has not verified that information. Cuba says the individuals on board that boat were Cuban nationals living in the U.S. Secretary Rubio says they're working to determine whether they were U.S. citizens or legal permanent residents. He said the incident did not involve U.S. government personnel. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Emma will have your sports breakdown right after this. Stay tuned.
Quiero lanzar la primera línea Pret-a-Porter de Velvet. La colección de Ana no debe salir adelante. La guerra acaba de comenzar. ¿Tú sabías que Alberto estaba vivo?
Welcome back to Public Eye News. Once again, I'm Emma Morantz here with your Thursday Sports Breakdown. Starting on the court, the Northern Michigan University men's basketball team only needs 2 more wins to get a shot at the first seed in the GLIAC tournament and to share the GLIAC regular season championship. The team stays home for the last weekend of regular season with games against Parkside and Roosevelt. The team faces off against Roosevelt tonight with tip-off at 7:30 p.m. Look out for Dylan Keel, who has been a standout player all season, being named on both the Bevo Francis Top 50 watch list and the Trevor Hudgens Award Top 25 list. Let's pack the Vanderbilt tonight with green and gold. And staying on the court, the Northern Michigan University women's basketball team has their final regular season games this weekend, facing against Roosevelt and Parkside before starting the GLIAC tournament. The team currently is in 4th in the conference and has a quarterfinal game at home. Saturday is senior night, where 5 seniors will be recognized. Player to watch for the Lady Wildcats is JC Westbrook, who stays on top of the nation's leaderboard when it comes to 3-pointers per game. Westbrook also leads the entire Division II in triples with 96. She also ranks 2nd across all Division I and Division II players. Head coach Casey Thousand also just surpassed 2,000 wins, including 82 victories across 4 seasons with the green and gold. Tip-off for tonight's game is set for 5:30 p.m. And heading to the rink, the Northern Michigan University men's hockey team has their final weekend of regular season play this weekend, as they head to Mankato to face off against Minnesota State, where they need to have a sweep for a chance at playoffs. This might be difficult, however, as Minnesota State is just 4 points away from winning the McNaughton Cup for the 4th time in 5 years. Along with a clean sweep this season, NMU needs Ferris State to be defeated by Lake Superior State. If Ferris State loses and NMU gets the victories needed, then the green and gold advance to the playoffs. First puck drop starts at 8:07 p.m. on Friday, February 27th, and can be heard on Radio Results Network.
Thanks, Emma, for that sports breakdown.
I'm really looking forward to seeing the men's basketball team.
Me too. I mean, 2 wins to get the #1 seed would be awesome
That
for them.
would be really good. And that's all the time we have at Public Eye News today. I'm Emma Morantz.
And I'm Emily Goodacre.
We'll see you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.